the ball, they're bouncing around. That looks like a happy David Condon, but you've got to say, from an England frontline perspective, they need to be a lot sharper in the circle. What's the outcome that is desired? The penalty corners are a little bit one-dimensional for starters. They need to, I think, find a different option when they do get those set plays, and then when they're in the D, find an option, get a secondary pass, but put it on the end of a stick, as Argentina did for their second goal. Toscani found Martinez right on the end of his stick, and England need to be that precise, that surgical as they get into the circle.
Both teams, Pro League stats this season, 2 wins and 1 loss. What will the stats say and the league say come the end of the next 2 quarters? Condon started England off. He scored twice in a win earlier on this season against Spain in Valencia. He was bouncing, he was trying to increase the tempo just before the start. England all in white, Argentina in their chain strip of dark blue. Andrak misses that one.
That shows a little bit more creativity in the passing though. Sanford throwing that long overhead. Does just ask questions so England can press, and they have to keep confident about how they're getting high up the pitch. England, they're handling the ball well, their passing's better, their turnover rate has been far lower than it was yesterday. There are a huge number of positives. Argentina, for me, it's a little bit hesitant, and the half-time actually came at a good time for them, because England, I know they had the yellow card advantage, but they were bossing the pitch, creating a bucket load of chances that they then didn't take.
Drive from Tarazona, who has a lot of international experience himself. Argentina aren't quite at full strength, but they're not far off the likes of Mazzilli to come back in, who obviously adds such a lot of quality and creativity once more. England, lots of Ames, Roper, Ansel, and more missing. Zach Wallace, of course, who captained England in Valencia. Thomas Hubby smashing that one, making it dangerous. Aubrey and Sanford having a bit of a crash.
I didn't think there's any words that needed to describe 3 players simply running into each other on the top of the circle. It is showing that England are chasing back in defence. They're not giving the midfield opportunity to run through and do the classic give and go, the Argentinian give, the sort of Dutch give and go that we really like to see.
Tarazona with a reach around reverse stick tackle. He had to get that right, otherwise he would be in the sin bin, and he did get it right. Keenan goes on the reverse, bouncing ball, awkward for Ferrero. Mariano Ronconi, no doubt as a coach, will be so excited by the way his forward line are playing. Keenan is different to Casella and Ferrero. How he's come alive today. Now, what happened there? Condon getting in a tangle with Monya.
Oh, the contact. I think it was just 2 players' feet tangling up as they both went for the same ball, to be honest. The overhead that was thrown was a flatter ball that enables it to pitch a little bit lower and travel forwards better.
Matthias Ray seemed to just get flattened by Tom Salisbury. I don't think it was deliberate, and Ray, as he stood up, very much saw the funny side. Tellini moves the ball on quickly, gets it back. Better from Jose Tellini there.
Well, that's frustrating for a coach in that situation, because Ward's run on that front press was a J run and was done in order to make sure that Argentina went one way and stayed one way. And then he was fractioning out of line and allowed Argentina to go all the way back across, and suddenly they then had the whole right flank exposed. They didn't take the opportunity to do it, but if a team, any team, presses in one direction, they have to make sure they don't allow their opponent to get back across the pitch.
Sanford stood strong in the space. England get themselves a free hit. Keenan working back. Park again, trying to be attacking.
And he's the sort of player they could do with getting on the ball, because he would match of Ferreira. He would match a Keenan to get a stick on the ball, juggle it, dribble it, work around the back. He is A, so quick, and B, he has beautiful hand-eye coordination.
Kasea, and look at how Ferreira's flooding forward ahead of him. Doesn't lead overly well there. Ferreira just sags away instead of making a dynamic run. Kasea, though, does enough and gets the penalty corner.
Well, I think it is a stick tackle in the circle. Irma's saying it's not, but it looked like it the first instance. But is he saying it's outside the circle? Okay, so that to me is saying it's outside the circle, not inside.
I believe a penalty corner for a stick from number 40 from England inside the D. He's saying that there was tackle with the stick, but outside.
Okay, we're looking for inside or outside.
Yes, from number 40.
A really clear question.
Jack Turner, who recently won the English Super Sixes with Wimbledon, is the player penalised here.
Well, the first contact might have been, but the sticks then get dragged into the circle. Unfortunately, I think that's in. I think that's a penalty corner because that's on the line at best. Sorry, I think that's a corner. The look on your face, Dan, suggests you don't.
A decision for you. The fault was outside the D, so you can award a free out.
And I maintain my success rate on the umpire decisions over the last week, over this weekend.
Because still tackle.
Sorry, it's still a tackle, so you can award a free hit for Argentina, and they keep the referral.
So it has been overturned in terms of the penalty corner. It's a free hit, and there's just a little miscommunication between the umpires there. The man, Montez de Oca, just mishearing Catalina Montesino, who said a free hit just outside the circle. He thought she said a free out, which would have been a literal overturn. The guy backs away. Ferreira has to take it 5. England swarm. Where does Ferreira go? He goes into the air.
Now, Reece Smith just going, right, you can play with this all you like, but I'm now going to step through that with a big flat stick and deny you the chance to juggle and play near the edge of the circle.
Well across from the number 32, Peter Scott. One of these youngsters in the squad. Limited experience. Cellini, who scored 4 at the Pan Am Cup recently, which Argentina won. Of course, Argentina qualifying for the next World Cup in early 2023. He scored a couple of those goals against the Canadians, but no goals in the Pro League yet this season. That pops up towards Sanford. It's Argentina's ball. Nico Keenan really coming to the fore for his team today. A beef offering depth. Now England look to put some pressure on the press. Smith again, this time he gets the Argentinian player Bagaya the wrong side of him. Sanford battles. Gives away to the goal scorer Toscani. Smith loses his stick to Toscani's boot. Still going, pulls it back. What's that? Hit a penalty corner. Going Argentina's way. No questions. Nick Parsley ran off to get the gear immediately.
Stunning individual skills yet again. Look at that pull. Toscani, that is carbon copy of what he did to set up the goal for Martinez. Then it's a whole load of players. These around the honeypot. Toscani's ability on the ball, just fabulous to watch. Genuinely fabulous.
It's the pace they're carrying it with. Like that. It's so hard to do. It's just taking it up to another level. Tellini. Japan, Australia and New Zealand he scored against in Tokyo. He has a 42% strike rate from short corners, penalty corners in international hockey.
That's a great double save. Triple save. Straight into the goalkeeper, and then he somehow manages to get his body in the right place on the second phase and get up for the backhand that rattles between his big red-booted feet.
Ollie Payne. Again, continuing the good form of English goalkeepers this weekend. They have really done very little wrong. Can't fault them for any of the goals so far. Tellini. Cutting pass, very nice pass. Kinan dropping deep, moving three English players. Look at how he dragged them around the pitch. And then his pass was wayward. Although,
you'll see this corner in, drag, Payne gets his feet together, and that body shape, absolutely brilliant. Everything's going one way and he gets his hand out the other.
Of course, it was Nico Della Torre with the penalty corner. Ferrero, the tackling from Scott of the Peter variety. Two Scots in the team.
Here we'll see it again. Watch this right hand there. That save as he gets his leg back down on the second phase. Look at the body shape. He's watching that all the way onto his pad. Right, scramble saves, and he's spoken to Ollie. I'll do some work with him on different things, and his composure, what he wants to be is a goalkeeper who's just in the right place, is composed and just guards his goal, doesn't get carried away and run all over his circle.
Comes across as a very calm influence on the team as well.
Yeah, yes, I assume he would be. I mean, neither of us have been close enough to really to know how he comes across when you're standing in front of him, but his demeanour is so relaxed, he's incredibly laid back, and his communication is the same when you hear him talk about the team or his own performance. So you would imagine, yes, it would be a calming influence.
As he played in Tokyo for Great Britain.
Great take from Gaul. Reading Toscani that time. Toscani pulled that ball right to left across his feet. Gaul could leave a forehand stick in there.
Ray wanted the ball, didn't get it. Monya, depth and width, straight then, down the middle, into the circle, forcing. The long corners, Toscani led well. And just a lull in play. Free hit coming on the right-hand side. England setting a wall of white shirts in front of the Argentinian player, Della Torre, who doesn't get the ball as quickly as he wanted it. Former Den Bosch player. His time at Den Bosch missed the first half of the season due to passport issue. Eventually got the break in the Dutch league. Toscani pulls it back onto Aubrey, who danced away from the ball. He shoots Brendan Creed, plays it to Duncan Scott.
The positives for Argentina of Toscani playing as well as he is that as soon as he gets the ball, England have to double team. They have to put a defender into the tackle and a defender into the cover. And in doing so, that then means that around the rest of the pitch it is tagged up, player to player, man to man, which means they have so many more options as they get in towards the circle.
Here goes Park. And to break his wrists on the pass out to the right-hand side where Goodfield was leading and Scott was ahead of him. But Argentina again standing strong in defence, and still England can't breach that defence. Cecilio, an absolute rock at the back for Argentina. Monya trying to get up high. Creed. Poor pass, really poor pass, but just clipped the foot on the way through of Coelho.
Well, he's got away with that one. I think it was a combination of two things. One, wanting to play the killer ball, but secondly, just the pitch being a little bit heavy in that midfield channel.
Goodfield gets dispossessed by Ray, who immediately just chucks the ball inside to the second goal scorer, Martinez. Three players for England swarm. Tellini, that means, has a lot of space.
Good from Gaul. Nice step out and challenge, and then a track on Monya as he comes all the way through into midfield. England have to keep working hard. It's brutal physically because if Argentina keep playing with the ball the way that they are, you just look at it and run, you go, I can't get anywhere near it. They're handling the ball so well.
In the World Cup of 2018, England won 3-2 in the quarter-finals. So he went on to finish 4 against Argentina in that quarter-final. They played very well indeed. But Argentina there, especially in their midfield, had a lot of older legs. And now they've refreshed those older legs. And they are looking very good for it. Cecilio as well, in that Pedro Ibarra type role, who we saw at the Senado last week.
He's distributing a ball so well. He's seeing lines. That channel that he had to throw the ball through was a couple of metres wide. He's played it off that slap skill that we've talked about. But just his vision. Change of direction from De La Torre, and then there underneath goal as he steps in. That's just cheeky.
And it's attritional for the English front line. And they need all the energy they can get to try and get on this score sheet. Scott down the line on the reverse. Nurse. Salisbury, I thought was almost caught in two minds. He actually did incredibly well on the ball to spin out weak side. Sanford eliminates. And then gives and goes. Condon goes right hand side. Now Park has an opportunity. That's good from him. Nurse still has it. Well, not much advantage coming there because Nurse played the ball straight into an Argentinian stick.
Well, England seemed to half appeal for a foot in the circle as they came forward. If it had been a foot, then you've got to suggest that the advantage that was given, well, you ask how much of an advantage was it? This guy literally likes to play it in the air more than he plays it on the turf.
And he's won a... No, he hasn't won a free hit. I thought Ferreira had won a free hit there.
Well, I haven't seen a single line direction.
He has won a free hit. He has won a free hit.
Well, he has done, and then Ronconi's had an absolute...
I think Ronconi wanted the card against Creed. I think he wanted a card.
And I can see why. I mean, Creed steps across, and there was a great big shove on Ferrero. He just everything he's got goes to the air. Creed's not letting this go past. And then that step in there, well, I'm not sure you can step across the line that aggressively. He didn't run a consistent line. He ran across it to create the contact. I can see why the request was there.
England have not generated much in this third quarter at all. Limited forays into the Argentinian circle. Bearing in mind that last Nurse ball into the circle was one of their most prolific so far. Now they get in there. Banjarak, eyes up. Crosses it in. Cecilio puts it out to play. Salisbury tries to find a way. Puts it on the boot of Toscani. Penalty corner. That's better from England. Diego Barbas had no doubt as to his decision.
And are England going to go to a change of routine? They need something out of this. They desperately need to get a goal on the board. Clever movement from Salisbury as he gets inside the circle. As soon as he can see that white line, he knows just turning the change of direction. Finds the foot of Toscani. The foot that the video umpire didn't find earlier on, however, that time, clear as.
It was the first, or it hit the first penalty corner for England in this quarter. Ward is there. Banjarak is there, both running up the same line, to be fair. Are we going to see a genuine variation here?
Well, Creed's come in to inject. Something happened, either it was overtime, it was over the 40 seconds. If that's the case, then the injector gets sent back with a penalty.
Will be Banjarak. Oh, and it's a very good goal indeed, and Nick Banjarak has done the business. He went for brute force as opposed to placement, and this time it worked. His second international goal.
This is what he wants to do, and he's whipped that out. That's a beautiful flick past the number one run. That really good stop, and then he just pulls across it to generate the whip and the power. But we said, Dan, that he needed to make the most of the chances he was given, and that is an absolute beauty.
There wasn't much There wasn't much in the way of genuine variation in what we saw there, but you had Ward and Banjarak stood one in front of the other as Diego Barbas.
What are they
He
asking?
was asking the question here.
What might the question be? Are they asking, did it go outside the circle? Are they asking, was it a hand on the track? I'm literally guessing at this point, wondering what the question might be. All the players have left the pitch.
Barbas was an umpire at the World Cup in 2018, joined the World Panel in 2017. Let's have another look.
It's gone outside the circle. That's not an issue. There's no hand on that. That's just played a stick. I can't see why. I can't see why that would be disallowed for any reason.
And aside from that, a very, very good finish over the head of Martinez.
I'm wondering if it was a team referral, what the question was. No issue with that. There's no technical problem. Both back foots off the pitch. It was a player breaking the line in too quickly. Has it hit the number one runner? And if it has hit him above the knee, is that dangerous because of the impact, even though it's gone into the goal? Is that what they're asking for?
Very hard to see, though, whether it was body, stick, what it was, because he brings his stick